3 slots, 2 8-pins, and 1 chunky graphics card is all it takes to fight with Nvidia. Let's start this off with a game that everyone's talking about, Modern Warfare 2. Now, this game doesn't have a built-in benchmark, but you can see me playing around on Spec Ops that the FPS on this mission is sitting pretty good at 1080p. You can kind of see the screen tearing going on, and that's because, if you haven't noticed already, this is MW2 from 2009. Haha, they used the same name. That's the joke. Into the video. Goodbye. No, wait. Sorry. The actual joke of the video is that AMD is also recycling names, and so double gotcha. It's time for another 7000 series. This right here is not any of the new cards, the 7900 XT or 7900 XTX. No. This is the Radeon HD 7970, which, as you can see, is still playing games 11 years later. And that's what this video is about. Not me doing the two really dumb jokes. I mean, that is part of it. That, like, if I couldn't make those, maybe I wouldn't make the video. But this is actually about what can an 11-year-old video card do? And I'm, of course, pairing this with my nice little Ivy Bridge 3770K, which came out, I think, like 6 months after the 7970 did. Basically, this was my computer in 2012. Let's see what it can do. So, Modern Warfare 2 2009, being a game from 2009, is actually currently running on DirectX 9, which is definitely helping this thing perform. You can see in the top left corner there, D3, D9. Now, I'll run you through the options. They don't give you a ton. I am at 1080p right now is what we're looking at. And then under advanced video, all this stuff I have on right here is the highest. 4 times anti-aliasing, all you get. Do we want shadows? Yes. All the stuff to yes. And then texture quality is where you can fiddle around a little bit. And we want to be as extra as possible, so we have it on manual. Let me bring you back to the bridge, and let's just go ahead and like actually look at the frames, okay? So this bad boy, again, 1080p, but over 200, 400, it keeps jumping around because it's just such an insane number. This game runs very well. If you like playing older games, I hope I've made it very clear to you that you can use an older card to play older games and to have a blast. So maybe you aren't looking at buying one of these, 11 years later, but let me tell you, if you have the opportunity to get something like this for very cheap, or someone's like trying to throw it out, maybe say, hey, don't do that. There's a place for this. I want to play MW2 at 182 FPS and run around and P90 people like a madman. This is a great time, and I highly recommend it. And this thing can just go up right here. You don't have to play at this high of an FPS. Crank that resolution up, okay? And you will have a fantastic time. Now let's go to a game that has an actual benchmark. Well, actually, let me try to blow this thing up. It's on fire. Does this thing just not blow? Oh. They do blow up. Okay. Skipping ahead a few years, we have Tomb Raider 2013. This is at 1080 right now, but quality up to the max on Ultimate. How well does that do? And you know what? I think you'll find this plays pretty well. We're averaging over 60 FPS on this, but I think we can do this a little differently. I'm not going to just run everything at 1080p max settings. Now, that wasn't quite the MW2 FPS, so let's see, have we hit a wall already? What happens if we play this on low? And as you can tell, the textures leave something to, if you squint, if you put some Vaseline on the screen, it looks bad. I would rather them not have the dirt on her skin. This is back when games used to actually have low settings and things would look bad if you put them on low. Now a lot of games just run a little bit better but still look totally normal. Anyway, don't play like this. Let me move the settings a little bit. Okay, so this is on normal and it looks so much better. And if you want to have a, quote, normal time playing this, you might find 188 average FPS. That is such an insane difference. I think maybe there's like Nvidia Hairworks on Ultimate or something, like something that the AMD card's not doing, because that is a massive change in frames per second. Now, I'm not going to run through every little setting you can turn on, so let's just go ahead and jump to the end. The highest of highs, I would run this at 4K normal settings. You can see here, it looks beautiful, and it runs beautifully as well. Almost 60 FPS average on this. But enough of the older games. Let's go ahead and jump ahead in time to something a little more modern. Maybe the year 2077. We are playing Cyberpunk 2077. Now, we are playing at 1080p. This isn't exactly like the best of settings, but this is running in DirectX 12. I want to point that out. This card will let you have support in some capacity. I don't think it supports all the feature sets of DirectX 12, but we're playing Cyberpunk on this. Now, it is at like a little bit around 30 FPS, so, you know, you might have to make some compromises playing on an 11-year-old computer, but you can run Cyberpunk. If we get into some, you can see jumping around in the action, things are dipping a little bit, but they aren't going crazy. It honestly, like, it doesn't feel bad. I mean, it's not amazing. It's not like I'm playing at 120 FPS, but if this is what you got, this is what you got. Like, this is not bad enough to where I'd be like, no, I'm just not playing the game. Like, this is okay. You can see in the action, we're really at about like 25 FPS, but it's not going crazy awful. I bet our frame times are not atrocious playing this. All right, so you can see right here, we are playing in 1080p, and I'll go ahead and just scroll through the settings. Basically, everything off. I have shadows on for some reason. Just basically all low, everything off that you don't think you need. Even like motion blur, whatever, get rid of it. Actually, motion blur might help the game feel a little bit better. Now, if you don't think that this is good enough for you, guess what? I am going to do some tweaks. We have some room we can push on here. So if we go to the AMD Fidelity FX Super Resolution, we can use some FSR to crank this bad boy up. And by that, I mean crank the FPS up a little bit. We're not going for higher visuals, definitely not right now. I am going to go ahead and just put it on auto though, and I'm leaving the sharpening as is, and I will show you what the game looks like and how it runs. It does look different, definitely, but the frame rate, immediately we gain 5, 10, 15, 20 FPS depending on what's going on. So if that 25 FPS really bothered you, and you just don't mind that the visuals look a little more muddy, this is okay. This is fine. I don't hate doing this. Like, I'm sitting here. Now, my aim, you know, could maybe use a little bit of work. It's been a minute since I played Cyberpunk, but that is a totally different thing. That is not, it's not the game's fault, okay? It's my fault. Oh, I'm dead. Well, let's go to another game. Here is literally one of the newest and most popular games you could be playing right now, Warzone. I am playing at 1920 by 1080, and I have everything all the way down. I'm sure you can tell because this game looks, honestly, a little ugly. So far, that didn't feel awful or anything. We're at 40 FPS, which is not too shabby. I can see things, okay? Things don't, you know, look super pretty, but this is like, if you were playing a game on air quote competitive settings, you would turn things down. Maybe not literally to this extent. Do I have to shoot him again? Maybe not literally to this extent, but you can still make out objects. You can still see things. I can still tell that there's a lens flare over there, and then I can aim. It doesn't feel awful trying to react to aim. This is actually, honestly, a lot better than I thought it was going to be. Now, I am playing on DMZ. I'm not doing Battle Royale, so if I was doing Battle Royale, it very well may drop lower than this. But I am actually going to mess around with some settings even more, and we'll see just what we can do with our frame rate. Again, it looked like it got to about 40. It's jumped up to about 50 now. I don't know if it's going to do any better or worse than that, but that does not matter to me. What I want to do is I want to go ahead and go into our graphics, I'm gonna go to quality. I don't know if this is gonna immediately throw everything off, like if I'm going to restart my game or something, but I'm gonna put on FSR, and by default it's on balanced. Tell you what, we'll try ultra quality and see what happens. That actually went ahead, and we are, oh, you know, I think that may have made the game better. Now, I think there might actually be a little bit of artifacts. Like, oh god. There very well could be some things that look blocky and smeary now because it's using a lower resolution, but I just saw it hit 60. This is definitely running faster, and this is on quality, which it looks at least as good, if not better than it, generally speaking. Again, there might be some weirdness going on, so let's, before we die, let's go ahead and let's do the opposite. Let's put it on performance and see what happens. See if we're just super bottlenecked right now, or if we're actually going to jump up. Okay, this looks so much worse. This looks so much worse. Oh my god, it's so jagged. We did get better FPS, so if you like, you just absolutely want to play at 60 FPS no matter what, you could do this. I think my go-to, though, is to play on the quality setting. And even at 1080p, that was not doing bad at all. Ultra quality. Let's go ahead and I got one more to try out. What if we put on dynamic resolution, and we'll just play the game like normal. We'll use normal settings, and it'll just dynamically start shifting the game to try and get us our FPS back. And we'll see if that looks quite the same as using FSR. Honestly, I'm gonna guess that FSR is probably better. I don't know how much they've worked on the dynamic resolution scaling. You can definitely see it start to get choppy, but it's not choppy in terms of FPS. It's choppy in terms of image quality. Yeah, we hit 58 right there. I think I am so surprised. I actually had played around on this a little bit earlier, and I was not having this good of a time. I played it the other day, and I thought that it was not this good, but I think, oh, yeah, I could just turn on him. I just locked on him. Yeah, that is not like really input laggy or anything like that at all. I think you can mess with some settings and like actually get something good out of this. I will go ahead, and this is my go-to. If you don't want to fiddle with anything, just use that FSR ultra quality, and I think you're doing all right. I think FPS to image quality ratio going on, I think it's pretty good. I'm okay with 50. It's about 40 to 50 FPS. You can actually make out things, and I think you can have a good time. Reaction speed, decent enough. 22 millisecond. Yeah, like I tracked him. Now, obviously, he was up really close, but I'm not really having any trouble blasting these dudes. So I say Warzone, honestly, it's pretty good. It's just like, we can only go up from here. I'm just gonna show some indie games now. So like, I mean, this is it. What else? What else are you gonna? We'll do some more battle royales. There. Let's take a look at some of those, and we'll see how they perform. Maybe Warzone is a fluke, even though all the ones I'm gonna show are older. Oh, that's where FSR. Oh, okay. A huge thing that we're playing on a graphics card that doesn't have new drivers. We got some artifacting. Oh my god. This is weird. Now, there are unofficial drivers that you can download, but I don't know if you want to do that. I'm not saying that you should or shouldn't. This could just be an FSR thing. That could just be... No, that is not just an FSR thing. I mean, if anything, that's maybe kind of actually a good thing, because that means you can still play on this quality and not have to worry about these shenanigans like, oh man, I can't play at a high FPS because everything turns all mosaic and weird. No, I don't think that's the case. I think you can still run around and play that. Look, we're getting above 60. Okay, all right, I'm done with Warzone. Let's go to the next one. All right, so we got everything pretty much on low except for view distance, you know, so we can actually see some people. And ooh, this is really, I think I'm gonna turn it down, actually. This is a little too stuttery. Let's try far. Far might work. There is someone, like, right here. I swear. I see the footsteps. Oh, here we go. All right, this feels good so far. Our FPS is doing really well, actually. I'm pretty surprised. There's probably different spots on the map that will... Well, what just happened? Oh my god. Come on. Come on. I'm freaking out. I'm okay. Let's go. All right. Okay. Yeah, this doesn't feel bad at all. We have 100 FPS right now. Again, different spots on the map will probably drop down, but like, yeah, there's 77 right there. But this is fine. This is not bad at all. Obviously, we have our settings down a stupid amount, but like, it looks fine. Fortnite's a game that you can do that with easy. So I think that this is probably a pretty decent time. Man, where are all these people? I haven't like played since no build was a thing, so like I kind of don't really know what I'm doing. I'm just trying to hit this dude. Here, let me break with that. Yeah. Oh, that's not right. Okay. Oh, come on. Yes. Okay. Yeah, no, this feels fine. I don't hate this. I did also play a little bit of some Apex Legends. I have it at 1080p, everything turned all the way down, and it feels pretty fine. Like, moving around and aiming and everything doesn't feel like unresponsive or anything like that. The FPS does fluctuate a fair bit depending on what's going on, but the lowest it really dropped was right around 60. So if the inconsistencies bother you a lot, I mean, I guess just lock the frame rate to 60 FPS and you should be good to go. And here's the last of the BRs that I went over, a little bonus round, if you will. If you want to soar through the game with high performance at a high resolution, Realm Royale is your game. I was playing at 4K max settings like it was nothing. I think that's a great note to end the BRs on, and let's swap over to finishing it out with some indie games. Yet another 4K max settings showcase from a title on an 11-year-old card. Like, this is how I'd be playing the game on my main PC. Okay, like, you don't really get much better than over 120 FPS 4K max setting. Like, if you hit that threshold, you're kind of just having a good time. And it doesn't matter how much more power you're throwing at this thing, you're not really going to be getting anything extra out of it, at least for Gunfire Reborn, which is a fantastic game, and you should definitely check it out if you like the whole roguelite FPS RPG kind of thing going on. And to close this one out, one of my favorite games from the entire year, a speed running FPS, Neon White. This isn't max settings. I'm only playing at 1080p because there is no internal resolution scaling, and the way I'm capturing this is only at 1080p, unfortunately, but you can see where you're getting well above 120 FPS. This feels incredibly fast-paced, which if I'm speed running, if I'm going around, high octane first-person shooter, that's exactly how I want to play it. But yeah, that's closing out the video. I think that there's a lot of modern games this thing can still dance around with, and especially indies and older games. Like, there's almost no point to having anything stronger than this computer for some things. Like, isn't that crazy? how little you need to spend to get into PC gaming. I love it. Or isn't it crazy how much people overspend on PC gaming? Isn't that sad? I don't know which one it is. You know, if you want to be half glass full or half empty, feel free to pick whichever one you want. I'm gonna leave you with that. Thank you so much for watching. If you have anything else that you would like to see from this computer or a different build entirely, please let me know. And until the next one, take care. Goodbye.